Sorry, it's been a while. I've been crook, and I don't know, Vince must have given it to me. I spoke to him on the phone. I think it was Thursday last week, and he said he was going down with something. I said, "Oh well, just look after yourself, all good." And about 6 hours later, I went down too. I guess it's been coming. I've been feeling a bit crook for the last few weeks. So anyway, it did certainly kick the crap out of me, and I still feel pretty drained and pretty weak out of it, to be honest. And I haven't eaten very much, which isn't such a bad thing in my circumstance. But I think I've turned the corner, and life, the universe, and everything is coming back together again. I've lost the snot out of my head, which is a good thing. And the aches and the pains seem to have gone today as well. I've done a whole heap of, I don't know what you'd call them, treatments of myself over the weekend to purge myself of whatever the hell was inside me. And I've been looking at a lot of stuff, in between doing a lot of sleeping, I'll admit, which sort of leads me to believe that all of us are suffering at different levels of this toxicity that they're spraying on us. I might have just hit a boundary. That's all sort of what I felt about it, because we certainly did get sprayed a bit last week. So my apologies for my lack of visualness in the last little while. But trust me, you didn't want to see me. I was a miserable bastard. Always am. Like most blokes, I suppose. When we're sick, we're the worst people to be around, because we really are sick. Or we think we're dying. And whether or not we are, in effect, dying is immaterial to the way we feel. And I'm definitely one of those blokes. So my apologies. I would like to thank everybody who's bought a ticket so far in the lottery. When I looked last, which was yesterday evening, I think it was, there were 702 tickets sold. So that would mean there were 48 left. $2 a ticket, and we will draw that. Hopefully today it'll go off, and you'll get a notification in your email saying you've just won $750. And then we'll be able to send Sandy at the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary not just an email saying, hey, listen, we're sending you some money, but we'll send her some money too. It all goes to a great cause, folks. So if you want to help out, there is only, like I say, 48 tickets left in this lottery. At least that's what it was last time I looked. And there might be less now. And it will regenerate a couple of minutes after it gives us our winner for this lottery. And we'll start all over again. So feel free to go and buy as many raffle tickets as you'd like, or as many lottery tickets as you'd like. We would like to give as many $750 surprises to families around the nation as we possibly can. So, and I really hope it can be you. I know that the lady who cleaned up the last lotto decided to share that money amongst her family, which is great. A little bit of a windfall. Everybody gets to share. And I think that was a beautiful way for her to use it. You might have a different use, and we'd love to find out what you do with it. But you can only do something with it if you're in it with a chance to win. And you can only be in it for a chance to win if you go to our merch.vofhq.com site and click on the Sanctuary 750 link. That'll take you direct to the lotto link, or the lottery link, rather. And you can buy one or up to 20 tickets at a time in each draw. You can't buy any more than 20 tickets in a draw. We're trying to give as many people as possible the chance to win, but we want to, well, we only sell 750 tickets, so we don't want everybody, one person or a few people just sweeping in and winning it every week. So that's why we've increased that a little bit. And I guess it will be a fluid thing. Vince, when he gets back on his feet, will be give me a bit of a rundown on how it's all working, and we'll tweak it if it's required to be tweaked. But this is just something that will go on here with the Voice of Freedom, and to help the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary, because as you know, Barry and Sandy are just two of the most wonderful people, and their team, they have a huge team at the Donkey Sanctuary that is voluntary, and they go out and look after, well, there's over 100 donkeys there at the moment, and there is more on the way. It's a big job, and there is a lot to do. So if we can help them out, I would love to be able to do that. And you can do that you can help us help them by buying a ticket in the raffle. That's at merch.vofhq.com, and then look for the Sanctuary 750 link across the top. Click on that, and you'll be able to get yourself a ticket. So there have been some weird things happening in the last few days. Toward the end of last week, and I know we talked about July 4th briefly because I never really figured there'd be much going on there, and there wasn't. July 5th, the world didn't seem to come to an end. However, there has been some significant movements in the financial markets over this time, and the emphasis on gold and the emphasis on the instability of the US dollar has dramatically picked up since last Friday, which was the 4th. Now, over the weekend in America, there have been a lot of conversations, a lot of public conversations about the weak state of the US dollar and the fact that it is beyond saving. All the pundits in America now are saying that the dollar cannot be saved, that the banks and indeed the big institutions are all going to gold. And I've got to check this out with the team at Ainsley Analytics or Ainsley Insights, because one of the things that I did hear to something I was listening to over the weekend was that some of these institutions like BlackRock and Vanguard are monetizing gold. Now, I'm not exactly sure. This thing that I listened to did try and explain it, but it was a bit beyond me. There were a lot of numbers involved, obviously. They're monetizing gold, which is, I thought, what we were all sort of doing anyway. But they're doing it on a scale that is never seen before in the history of the world, or at least the history of the known world, shall we put it that way. And I think the Australian banks are doing a lot similar. They are buying a lot of gold at the moment, and our Australian Reserve Bank is also doing some rather interesting things. I've posted, if you're on my Facebook, you'll find that I've posted a number of things up today about the SQV Trust, about the Reserve Bank, and the way that our financial system is manipulated. There is a lot more that has come out about this in the last, I want to say 72 hours or so. Well, I've been crook. Isn't it always the way? I can't tell you that I've seen it all. I've watched a lot of stuff, but you know what it's like when you're sick. You don't take a lot of it in. So I've bookmarked a heap of it to go back and watch today. And tonight we will have a bit better of a discussion about it all. But yeah, at the moment, I've got to just do a little bit of catch up. So yeah, we'll get there. The other interesting things that I'm finding about news coming out over, or at least since July 4th, has been a great deal of chatter about Antarctica, revelations about what was in Antarctica or what is still in Antarctica, and indeed what Antarctica is used for today. And that is, in effect, to be a barrier between technologies. We'll dig into that more in the next couple of weeks. I'm hopeful of being able to speak to someone who has been to Antarctica and actually on the ground, or the snow or the ice or whatever it happens to be. And I guess that really depends on where you're standing in Antarctica, whether it is in fact ground, snow or ice. But this person is a little reticent to come forward. They're an Australian, and they're a little reticent to come forward. And I understand, and it is what it is. I've offered all sorts of ways that we can do this and maintain anonymity. It's just a matter of being able to decide whether or not they want to do this, and I really hope they do. They'll get all the encouragement and support that I can give them, and all the protection that I can give them as well. I've got no intention of outing them, but if they do want to come and tell their story, then, you know, we're ready for it. So hopefully we can bring that story to you. I am so enthralled with Antarctica, and I'm drawn to it. It's like a magnet to me. from an information perspective. And I've watched a fair bit of stuff over the weekend relating to different expeditions, I guess is the way of putting that. And there's an Australian one down there at the moment that is in a really weird part on the ice. So it'd be interesting to try and find someone who knows more about that too, if there's anybody out there. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are at it again. Bear in mind, folks, this is all theatre. All theatre. The fight between Musk and Donald Trump will be completely orchestrated, and it's orchestrated for a reason. Now, watch what else is happening at the time and what they might be trying to distract you from. There is an awful lot of distraction going on between the White House and Israel at the moment. A huge amount. Netanyahu is going to the White House this week to meet with Trump. They are supposedly going to meet on a deal with Gaza. Now, the secret is pretty much out about what is going on in Donald Trump's administration. Whether Donald Trump realizes it or not is, I guess, open to question. I don't know how he couldn't realize it, but it is possible the President of the United States does get insulated. He has a chief of staff working for him that used to work for Benjamin Netanyahu. He is surrounded by Zionist activists or agents who are actively putting in front of him the Jewish or the Israeli, I don't mean Jewish broadly, I mean the Zionist or Israeli regime's goals, and anybody who would dissent from the information, the data, the intelligence, and anything else that's been put forward has been excluded from Trump's circle. And this has been done by the chief of staff. So this stuff is starting to come out. That indicates that a lot of what Trump believed to be true about Iran, and the big story was that Iran had a nuclear weapon and they were going to give it to the Houthis who had been attacked by the Americans on and off for a couple of weeks or months beforehand. They were levelling different parts of the Houthi bases over on the African continent, I think they're working out of. So Iran said, yeah. Well, supposedly Iran had a working nuclear weapon, and supposedly, and this is what Trump was told, that nuclear weapon would be given to the Houthis, and the Houthis would then be allowed to do whatever they wanted with it. Now, if that was to go up and blow up Israel, or if it was to go to Washington, D.C. or New York or wherever and do something heinous, that was the impetus that pushed Trump into sending the B-2 bombers into Iran. It's all lies. Absolute lies. And that has come out over the weekend as well. I think the world, if you're even remotely awake and you haven't swallowed the Israeli, the Zion mantra, then everybody should understand that we are all being played right now. And it doesn't feel as bad if you know this is just a movie. I know it's hard sometimes to say that, where our life is, we're being affected dramatically by a movie. Portions of our life, our living, relationships, everything is being affected by this movie. And yet we're being told, oh, it's just a movie. It's not really serious. I know it's hard to swallow, but look at some of the absolute crazy shit that is going on around this that makes me almost want to believe this is a, what do they call them? A dramcom, a drama comedy that we are watching. Trump has made some truly staggering decisions in the last 48 hours, which we'll talk about tonight. They don't make sense. And now many of his big supporters, including Joe Rogan and others, have come out and said that he's going a bit off track. He is certainly being controlled. If he isn't part of it, he is certainly being controlled or influenced to the maximum extent by the Jewish influence that is in the White House and the Jewish political influence that's in the White House, and that extends to his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. There are a number of signs, I guess, we should be looking out for. Many of them, I believe, have already been shown. Trump's complete backflip on a number of significant issues. This big, beautiful bill of his that is putting America now in, I think it's $1.5 trillion worth of debt. It will take it up to $5 trillion worth of debt within 5 years. I can understand why Elon Musk is probably a little upset given his Doge mantra, although Doge was not nearly as successful as they had preached. They expected to find $2 trillion worth of savings. I think they've found not even $1 trillion worth, not even $500 million worth of savings, or might be $500 million worth. But it's an interesting little state that is being set up between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, this public fight, this tit for tat. What would happen if Trump followed through on some of the threats that he's been making? Threats like, well, the big beautiful bill removes all of the subsidization that happens for the electric car industry. What happens to Tesla when that subsidization ends? Now, Musk has already said we shouldn't be subsidized. The industry shouldn't be subsidized. But he's also worn the benefit to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm sure, of those subsidies. Is the electric car manufacturing industry capable of surviving on its own merits without subsidies? I don't think so. I mean, I can't think of another wind or solar-powered business, green business, that could operate successfully without subsidies, without us paying the shortfall. Unfriggin' believable. It appears that in certain parts of Australia, some folks are waking up, and the odd local council is waking up to the bribes being offered by these big wind turbine companies wanting to come and put windmills all over your beautiful landscape. I know that in Oberon they've been fighting that now for some time. The people are dead set against it. The council obviously see the bribe that they've been offered, and that's really the only thing you can call it, I reckon. They've been offered a phenomenal amount of money by the companies to agree to allow them to put these windmills on. Now, I understand the councils think, well, that's a great windfall. We can do a lot for the community with this large amount of money that's being put into us by the windmill makers. But it's not. Rarely does the bribe translate, or this incentive translate, to great things happening in the community. It doesn't really help the farmers whose lands is resumed, although they do, in some cases, get a cut out of the power, I believe, that things are generated. I don't know how that works for farmers in Victoria who've got windmills on their property that generate nothing and goes nowhere. But anyway, we'll see what that happens. I can see a lot of people in the chat throwing things around. I can't really read it because these glasses are not good in this light. So I'm sorry, but hello to everybody in the chat. And yeah, turbine companies, real problem children, those turbine companies. And the fact that I'm not sure that they completely destroy the pastures that they're put in, but those cement pads that are dug into the pastures and these things are put on are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I want to say 300 tons of concrete. I could be wrong there, but it's a big pad and it's very thick. Now, when these windmills collapse, fall down, are pulled down or whatever, they're not pulling those pads out of the ground. So let's hope they're buried deep enough that we can get a bit of topsoil over the top and maybe start growing stuff in there again. I guess pasture land will always return to pasture land, but if it's agricultural land that we're growing on, and I guess in a lot of cases that's exactly where these things are going, I can't see a future for it. All I can see is us being robbed to pay them for the rest of our days. So it's nice to see Bob Catter and his crew standing up in far north Queensland up against them again, and any help we can give them, obviously, we would be happy to give them. The Cairns News is an unfailing supporter of regional and far north Queensland, and the farmers who take all the risk to provide us all the food and yet are also treated so very poorly. So we'll speak more on that over the next few days. I've been reading a lot over the last couple of days when I've been awake. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a catch-up. Oh, and can I just thank everybody? There's too many of you to mention, but thank you to everybody who's reached out over the last few days to find out if I'm okay. Tony, thank you, mate. You've been sending out healing vibes, and I think that's really helped. And I know that there are others who've done that for me as well. So thank you, folks. I really do feel without your help, I would be still on my back and complaining and whinging and wishing I was half dead. But not feeling that today. So thank you very much for reaching out to see if I'm okay. And you have no idea how much it means to me. There is a lot going on in my life, folks, and I only share a very small portion of it with you. And some of it, I guess, does leach over, and you do see some of it sometimes, but it's not my intention. We all have worries in our life. We all have problems in our lives, and mine are no different to yours, and certainly no more important. So I just love you and thank you for your support. Thank you for thinking of me when I'm not on the air and reaching out and seeing that I'm okay. It means a huge amount to me. Be safe, folks. We shall talk again this evening. I'm about to go and experience some dickheads on the road. That should be fun for us all. Have yourself a great day, and thanks again for everything. Oh, go and get yourself a ticket in the lottery. Very easy, $2. You can buy up to 20. I think there are only 48 left. There's probably not even that left now. And we will give one of you $750 before the day is out. Have yourself a great day. Look out for the dickheads.